The studio erupted in a clash between Mark Littlewood and Adam Brooks, more like a boxing ring than a debate, after the shocking case of a Muslim man who attacked an activist burning a Quran outside the Turkish embassy, yet walked free with only a suspended sentence. Mark, with calm disbelief, asked, "How can a knife-wielding attacker stroll away with such a lenient punishment?" To him, the ruling reeked of special treatment due to religious sensitivity. But Adam couldn't stomach that, exploding in fury. "This ruling is a disaster. It opens the door for angry youths to hide behind religion and justify violence." The words were blistering, the looks intense, until the studio finally erupted in shock. And now the question is yours. Was this a shocking act of leniency or justice done? Share your thoughts in the comments.
Did you know over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? Subscribing is free and helps us create more great content. Hit subscribe now and join our community.
Really got me about it. When you see the footage of how he's wielding the knife and slashing at this man who's on the floor, defenceless, by the way, you ask yourself, are we now sending a message out to people who want to wield knives that they can do this as long as they're offended religiously?
100%. Because only a few months ago, myself and Norman Brennan, who's a former police officer, we had a petition for 5-year mandatory sentences for carrying a knife in public without good reason, lawful reason. Now, this man, under our law, and I believe Lee Anderson is on board with what we're saying as well, under reform, that man would go straight to jail for 5 years, and rightfully so. Lucy Connolly is not a danger to society. She made a mistake, she broke a law, but she could have got away with a community order. She's no danger to anyone in her street or in society. This man clearly is. If the guy that he was swinging that knife at had been better at fighting back, someone would have been stabbed there, trust me. It was the fact that he went down, but then we see repeated kicks, one to the head, I believe. That can be fatal, a kick to the head. He spat on him. So we've got spitting, we've got kicking, we've got threats to kill, and we've got a man wielding a large knife. He should be behind bars for at least 5 to 7 years, in my opinion. There is no justification for this sentence at all. And as you say, it sets a dangerous precedent. Young people, youths, are going to be looking at that and thinking, right, if I get in trouble, I'm going to say I'm a Muslim. Or if I am a Muslim, I'm going to hide behind that excuse. That is a dangerous precedent that's just been sent, and this country is worse for it.
Nina, one of my bigger concerns, of course, is this blasphemy law through the back door. This is what many in the Conservative Party are out saying today as well. And it does seem to feel that way. We did get rid of blasphemy laws in this country. And I don't care what religion you are. You know, members of my immediate family are Muslims. And I wouldn't ever allow them to get away with an excuse like, I'm only wielding a knife because you offended me because of my religion. I think that is a really terrible defence. But it seems to me this is a very, very weak sentencing from the judiciary. What do you make of it all?
I agree. I think that it proves to me once again that religion is at the heart of almost every problem that we have today. It has been since the dawn of time. So, and I am not at all religious. I was christened a Catholic, but dumped that when I was in my teens, and I have seen no reason to go back to it. If people want to pray and do whatever, that's up to them. But I don't buy into it. I reckon that this guy had a knife, and therefore he should have had some kind of... this was a very lenient sentence, put it that way. I don't agree with Adam that it's 5 to 7 years. It may also, but I don't think that's far too long. But I also you think of the practicalities and the pragmatic side of things. Our prisons are full. So is there a place for him somewhere? I mean, that's the point.
Nina, just to ask you, because this is a question many people will be asking at home. Do you think it was because of his religion, because he was a Muslim, that he got off lightly because there's a bit of pussyfooting around this issue?
No, I don't see that. I don't see that it is at all. I mean, if you were to say burning a Christian Bible, but that hasn't happened. So we're making a supposition, and to prejudge that is to expose a prejudice.
Yeah, Mark, what do you make of this sort of backdoor blasphemy law stuff? Because that's where my concern is here.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think you're right to be sensitive to that. I think you're right to point it out. It's hard to know for sure, isn't it? So I think you've got to look at the the crime on its merits, or rather its demerits, and work out what you think should happen. I just looked up the statistics. There's about 134,000 sentences for violence against the person each year. Those figures are from 3 years ago, but I don't think they've changed much. That's about 20% of all offenders sentenced, and about 40% of those go straight into custody. How is that not in the worst 40%? That's surely in the worst 40% of violent crimes.
As well, isn't it? It's so public.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the whole video. It must be in the top 40%. So that gets one scratching one's head and saying, well, what was the exceptional nature of this case? And then you start to think the exceptional nature of this case is it involves Islam and the Quran. And you start to reach that conclusion, don't you?
Let's also remember last year, the summer riots, there was footage of a police officer telling local Muslim men to go and put their weapons back in the mosque. Now, again, if that was the other side, that was the counter-protest. If that was the side of the riot, there is no way that a police officer would say to Englishmen or Christian or whatever, go
how do you know? They could have said,
put your weapons back in your houses or whatever. That's not going to happen.
How do you know? They could say, go home and take that with you.
Get in the real world.
No, come on. I mean, I don't see why not.
People who are equipped with dangerous weapons.
But then you say, well, so what weapons did the Muslims have?
Well, I can't believe
well, you don't know.
Well,
so you're
police officer said take your weapons.
And did they take their weapons back if they were weapons?
I believe so.
And was that a good thing to do then?
No, they should have been arrested.
Well, exactly.
Well, you don't know what the weapons were. You don't know what the weapons were.
There's weaponry on a street, isn't it? I mean, I think that what's gone wrong.
We're talking about knives there.
What's gone wrong here is the instinctive British sense of politeness, which we should preserve, that we generally don't want to go around crassly offending people's religious predilections or political views. We're generally a very, very polite bunch of people. But that needs to be policed socially, in society, with people saying, oh, that went a bit far, you really shouldn't have said that. It can't be policed through the law. And we have allowed our intrinsic polite attitudes to basically lead us into a scenario where offending people becomes illegal.
But the thing is, I don't think any blasphemy laws are coming in at all. There's a completely retrograde state taking us back to the Middle Ages. It would be utter nonsense if they were.
I think once reform gets in, they've got to look at serious violent crimes have to do the time now, and things like low-level fraud, and that may be a tag. We need to buy more tags, and the low-level criminals out of prison, and the harmful ones, the violent ones,
keep religion out of it.
Put them in. Yeah, religion for me,
a little bit of consensus on the panel, I think, in many respects on this case. And I just think people will be scratching their heads over this at home, going, "How on earth have that person got away? Mr. Cowdery got away with such a lenient sentence?" It's bonkers to me. But anyway, in his ruling on Hamit Josh Coon's case, Judge McGarver said he did not view the case as an attempt to expand blasphemy laws. He said that burning a religious book, although offensive to some, was not necessarily disorderly, but that other factors, including Islamophobic comments, were made in police interviews, made it so on this occasion. All right, well...
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Next UK, your go-to for real stories and sharp analysis.